Hello, everybody. Welcome to BadgerBlitz TV. I am Jake Kocorowski, senior writer at BadgerBlitz.com. Of course, part of the Rivals Network, your home for all Wisconsin Badgers coverage. I'm excited. This is our first Badger Blitz TV episode, and we're kicking it off. It's Wisconsin. It's Army. This is great, man. I'm seeing myself. I'm in crystal clear HD. This is going to be good times. We got Jon McNamara, our editor, our recruiting analyst, our publisher here coming up just a couple minutes to help me break down Wisconsin Army. Of course, you can go to wisconsin.rivals.com, badgerblitz.com. Check out our podcast as well. We've had some great content. Just published something earlier today on Friday regarding talking with Joe Iacano from GoBlackKnights.com. So bear with us if we have any technical difficulties. We'll have some fun with it though. But let's get to the game because that's what you guys are all here for, right? Wisconsin and Army, 7 p.m. kickoff Central Time. Camp Randall Stadium, capacity 80,321. I got that memorized, by the way. I'm pretty proud of that. Of course, how to watch the Big Ten Network, how to listen. You have the Badger Sports Network. You have Matt LePay on the call there with Mike Lucas, Mark Toscher as the analyst, and Patrick Kirby as the sideline reporter there. This is the first ever meeting between these two programs with Army and Wisconsin. So that's going to be fun. We're going to talk about the triple option a little bit. We've talked about it, I think, ad nauseum here. And talking about that type of flexbone scheme, it's putting up points this year. It was, points per game right now, 34.4 heading into this contest. Through 5 games for Army, they are 4-1. Total yards per game, nearly 390, 387.8. The big stat, of course, with this option type offense, 318.2 yards per contest. That's second in the FBS, only to Air Force. And guess what, folks? They run somewhat of a similar scheme there too. And then the big one here, time of possession. Army leads the nation, 39 minutes, 46 seconds on average through 5 contests. That's first in the nation again. And on top of that too, how do they do that? It's third down conversions. 50% of the time they move the chains on third down, 36 to 72. And for that matter, they don't turn over the ball that much. Only 3 turnovers lost, only 1 sack. So Jim Leonard's defense is going to have quite the task against Army on this side of the ball. And guess what? Army's pretty good defensively too. They're only allowing under 21 points per game. Total yards per game allowed, 276. The rushing yards per game allowed. You talk about Wisconsin being good against the run where they give up just under 42 yards per contest. Army only gives up 61.2 per outing. That's third in the FBS. On top of that, passing yards per game, they give about 215. We'll see if Wisconsin can get some things going, through the aerial attack. I'm not necessarily sure, just because we've seen the inconsistencies even last week against Illinois. Third down conversion defense, again, really good for Army, 35.3%. And they've only created 5 turnovers. We know Wisconsin had 14 through the first 5 games on their end. Can they limit those sudden change opportunities for the Black Knights? That's going to be one of the keys to the game too. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I am excited to bring on, of course, take a look at this in picture right now. We have Jon McNamara, of course, the editor, recruiting analyst, publisher of BadgerBlitz.com. Jon, this is going to be quite the matchup where you don't necessarily see a non-conference game like this so late in the year, but after this, the Big Ten conference season revs up for Wisconsin. It's going to be quite the matchup. And this isn't just like a quote-unquote cupcake. This isn't just an easy matchup. This is going to be quite the test for Wisconsin.
Yeah, you go back to Wisconsin's local media day in the summer, and I remember Bob Bostad, I was talking to him, and he was getting asked about Army. And, you don't hear a lot about, looking ahead in the schedule and, planning specifically for a team. But with the unique challenges that Army brings, this is an opponent that Wisconsin's been looking at for a while, just because you don't see this, throughout the year, usually, in the unique offensive attack that Army has. So, obviously, Wisconsin has been prepping for this game every day since the summer, but I think you have to do something differently, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, as you try to scheme against a team that, like we talked about, Jake, is very unique in Army.
Now with that, let's start talking about keys of the game, right, folks? With this Badger Blitz TV, what we're trying to shoot for, 10, 15 minutes tops for Badger content. We want to get you the most succinct info out there. We all know y'all are busy. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to keep this between 10 to 15 minutes. I know we're already at like 5 minutes, so time's flying when you're having fun. So let's get right into it. Jon, what is your offensive key to the game for Wisconsin?
Yeah. If you'll go back to last week, the offensive line played better. And that's what I'm looking for this week. I guess we'll have to see probably game time if Logan Bruss is going to play on the edge there at right tackle. Could be Tanner Bortolini like we saw this previous week. But, look, it's no secret that Wisconsin and the win-loss column is reflective of how they play on the offensive line. So I think if we see another strong performance for Wisconsin from that group in the starting five there, I think Wisconsin is going to come out on top. So I'm looking at the offensive line and how they perform after a pretty good week just prior in their win over Illinois.
Looking at that too, that rebound with that offensive line, 391 yards against Illinois, 6.4 yards per carry, 200-yard backs, and Ches Malussi and Braylon Allen on top of that too. Like I said, no sacks. That was big for Wisconsin there. For me, I'm looking at with mine converting on third downs. Wisconsin for the first time went over 50%, 7-13 against Illinois and Champaign last weekend. Rest of the time, it's been abysmal. They're still ranked in the bottom third of not just the Big Ten, but of the nation in terms of third down conversions. Army, we talked about the time of possession. They like to get the ball back. The defense likes to get their offense the ball and just churn it out and just grind and wear down opponents. That's how they win. That's going to be the case. If that's going to be the case this week, it's going to be a long day for Wisconsin. They need to convert on third downs. They need to mix it up with, we can talk about keys. You want Wisconsin to be able to both run and pass the ball. You want balance. You saw that in 2019. Of course, you saw that in 2011 with Russell Wilson and in the rushing attack there. But regardless, Wisconsin needs to move the ball one of two ways. We'll see what happens against that Army defense, who, like I said, they do well against the run. Maybe they give up a little bit more in that passing attack. Can Wisconsin hit on that play action? You saw some good signs from Wisconsin last week with Kendrick Pryor getting open, Jake Ferguson wide open. Granted, Graham Mertz didn't hit him when he should have. I know he wants a few of those passes back, but those are positive signs in my eye, especially if he's comfortable. Can he continue that? And maybe can their progression be this week? He hits on a few of them and some big plays happen there. Johnny, now we're looking at defense too, on the defensive side of the ball, and we talk about a lot about Wisconsin being one of the best units in the nation, right? Tops in rush defense, 41.4 yards per game. We mentioned that. Third down conversions, they're 24% allowance right there, which is third in the country, along with total defense for that matter too. So this is a great defense. The one, I guess you could call it a couple things. They give up some big plays through the air. We've seen that against Penn State and Michigan, a little bit of Notre Dame, but there's also the lack of turnovers. They only have 3, takeaways right now. And Jim Leonard talked about that this week, I should say. But in your eyes,
Yeah, I think that I'm looking at Wisconsin's ability to tackle, and obviously they've done very well throughout the season. But against a team that's going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball, missed tackles are going to lead to guys getting to that next level in the defense for those chunk plays that Army's looking to break off. So, I don't think Wisconsin, you don't have to say that they have to be perfect in that department, but they have to tackle well and they have to finish tackles and get off the field there because you're just kind of chipping if you're Army, and then they're looking to break that big playoff. So it's tackling for me on the defensive side of the ball. Jake, I think you're on mute here.
There we go. Now you can hear me, folks. A little bit of technical difficulties on this first time out. You talk about containing the short runs, or tackling. That this kind of goes hand in hand, where you don't want Army to be put in a 3rd and 2. You don't want Army to be put in a 4th and 1. because that offense likes to grind. They have the triple option there. They're proven to move the chains. Like I said, again, 50% on third down conversions so far through 5 games for the Black Knights and Jeff Monken's group. So, contain first, second downs, stuff them. Instead of a 3-yard gain, a 2-yard gain is going to be huge in this game. Instead of a 4-yard gain, a 3-yard gain could loom large as well. So in my eyes, that's going to be a big thing for Wisconsin to do. And they obviously are essentially pretty sure tacklers in that front 7, Matt Henningsen, Keanu Benton, on the line. Isaiah Mullins, I think, played pretty well, but you're looking at that linebacker group, and it's kind of a foreshadowing for my Badger to watch this week. But, Jack Sanborn and Leo Chanel, 2 NFL caliber prospects in my eyes, in the middle for Bob Bostad's room. They're going to play a big role, and if they can contain that way, making right reads. You also have Nick Herbig, Noah Burks on the edge. Those are going to be huge, and we'll just see how they play out. But again, they need to push Army back or halt them or get negative yards somehow, so that they can force those 3rd and longs, force some passes from Army, who, they only average 70 yards per game through the air, not even. But when they do, I think their yards per catch is about 22 yards per reception there. So again, stop short yardage. You're going to be good. Back them up. That's going to be a key to success against Army. But John, heading into your Badger to watch now, as we, like I said, this is going to be a quick show, folks.
You muted out there at the end there. So I'm going to go with Danny Davis. I went in the pre-game here. I put Jake Ferguson, but then I was thinking about it as you're talking. Look, Danny Davis tied for first on the team right now, with Jake Ferguson, with Kendrick Pryor with 16 catches. You go back to the last game, I don't think he was even targeted by Graham Mertz. So I'm looking at that play where he's coming across the middle of the field. He's wide open there. Mertz misses him. I'm wondering if there's been some talk this week of, look, I'm getting open. You need to get me the ball here. So I'm looking at Danny Davis. Does he have a 4, 5, 6 reception game here to kind of bounce back from, it seems like, 2 or 3 weeks where he hasn't gotten the targets that maybe, a number 1 or number 2 wide receiver probably merits in this offense for Wisconsin.
And I'm off mute now. Awesome. I made sure I do that before. That's a great call out there. And Mertz had Danny Davis open that one time during the game. The drive that ended in the field goal in the first half, where Mertz tried to hit Chimere Dike. Davis was over the middle, still had to run for the end zone, but he looked like some ample room. So that'll be interesting to see what he does. He's been kind of quiet lately. I think you've seen good things out of Kendrick Pryor, Chimere Dike, obviously in that receiver group. Now we'll see what happens with Davis. For me, on the defensive side of the ball, when it comes to that, I'm going Jack Sanborn on my end. When it comes to, you have Jack Sanborn, obviously is a NFL caliber quarterback, linebacker, 28 tackles, leads the team that way, 6 tackles for loss, a couple quarterback hurries. I mentioned it with containing short runs. Him and Leo Chanel will be key in making the right reads, whether it's a fullback dive, coming up, which, that might be I think it's the first down that'll fall. If you can control that fullback dive and then have them present other options, that's going to be key there for Wisconsin. They're going to play a critical role. I'll extend it over, when it comes to both, Sanborn and Chanel in that end. But, Sanborn has looked really solid this year. He's going to be one of, obviously kind of the quarterback of that defense in terms of making sure everyone's lined up well, coordinating back between the secondary and the line. I think it's going to be a good matchup, and it's going to be testing ground there. Lastly, though, John, game predictions. How do you see this going? We're going to have it in our pre-snap read on BadgerBlitz.com, folks. We'll have our predictions in written form along with our keys to the game, which we've already basically brought up. But John, how do you see this game playing out, and what happens on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin's defense is going to be up for the challenge here. Maybe it takes a couple series for them to see it live and see the speed of Army's offense. I think maybe Army can break off a handful of chunk plays, but ultimately I think Wisconsin's defense can keep them in check. So I see a game where Wisconsin coming off a pretty good showing offensively against Illinois, coupled with the defense. If you can get this offense to score early and kind of give that defensive lead, like the focus was last week, I see maybe something similar to last week, although I think Army's probably a better football team than Illinois. I'll say something like 27-10 in favor of Wisconsin.
Yeah, right now I'm leaning, I said 23, I'll probably say 24-10 around that point. You look at Wisconsin and you see, like, as impressive as Army has looked so far, and in terms of, granted they lost to 3-3 Ball State out of the MAC. You have a team that likes to run the ball. They've smothered opponents with that time of possession again. The third down conversions are looking great, and defensively they've really, for the most part, outside of one game, done its job in just containing opponents. But in my eyes, I think this is a different caliber of opponent with Wisconsin that also has a great front seven. I think I agree with you. They'll be up to the challenge. That way, offensively, I think they're going to need to do, like I said, a little bit of both, and just hit some plays to keep Army honest and whatnot. I think, Malussi and also Allen, they have that ability to break runs. I think the line looked a lot better when it was more just 5 set linemen. Pro Football Focus had 70 snaps or more for the starting 5 last week compared to what we've seen in previous weeks, where there's been a little bit of difference there in terms of just, the percentages, but it was mostly those starting 5 that played last week. So to me, I think Wisconsin gets it done. I'll say 24-10 right now. But if turnovers happen again for Wisconsin, which it has, 14 takeaways in 5 games, that could spell some trouble too. So, John, before we let you go, anything else you got for Badger Blitz about what we'll have this weekend coming up, or where you're going? We're recording on Friday night, so where are you headed?
Yeah, headed out. I think I've seen all the Wisconsin targets kind of within 4 hours-ish from where I'm located here. This week 9. This fall has kind of flown by. I'm getting out to see Waukesha Catholic Memorial. I don't think they're going to have much trouble tonight against Pius, but there's a lot of young talent there on that Memorial roster that I want to get a chance to see. Specifically, a couple guys in that 2024 class, which I've talked about. That 2024 Insight class, I think is going to be pretty strong. So. A couple offensive linemen, and they have a running back there that I'm looking forward to seeing. So we'll have that up. We'll have some stuff up from that, hopefully tomorrow or Saturday morning. And then, through the weekend, we'll have the Army coverage. And then Jaden Ott, a big official visitor coming to town to Madison this weekend from California, with what has happened at the running back position for the Badgers on the current roster. That is a position now of emphasis in the 2022 class. After going through much of the cycle thinking, Wisconsin's not going to need one after they missed out on Nicholas Singleton there. So we'll try to catch up with him Sunday and hopefully get up a story on him as soon as we can, because, he's now one of the more important recruits for Wisconsin to finish out this 2022 cycle.
On top of that, we're not even talking about basketball yet, but the men's red-white scrimmage happens on Sunday, and BadgerBlitz.com will be there too. So there's a lot going on that end. First off, thank you all for watching. There you go. For y'all that are watching right now, you see our YouTube page. You see the nice little graphic I popped up there. Please subscribe. You'll see on the bottom button, the buttons, the thumbs up. please give us a thumbs up there. Also, please subscribe. We're trying to build this up. We're going to do these weekly shows coming up. We're going to have some recruiting based ones. We're going to do some basketball ones. We have a lot planned going forward, along with opponent previews too. So follow us on Twitter. For John, it's at McNamara Rivals, me at Jake Koco, Koco, and of course, Badger_Blitz. You have Ben Wargle too at the Badger Nation, and Raul Vasquez. I need to put his on the slide as well. So, but also like us on Facebook. If y'all are out there, search Wisconsin Badgers on BadgerBlitz.com. And thank you all for, again, tuning in. Appreciate you all, and have a great weekend. For those that are heading out to Madison, be safe, enjoy. We'll talk to you soon here on BadgerBlitz TV.